Welcome to the Art Lady's home. Today I'm going to be baking some bread, and I'm going to share with you my really crazy, easy, simple recipe of homemade bread. And this is like totally impresses your friends because they think, wow, you've gone to so much trouble making bread, when really it's 5 minutes to make, which is crazy easy, and that's why I do it. Let me go ahead and show you what I do. I go ahead and take, my basic ingredient is 3 cups flour, a cup and a half of warm water, and in that warm water I dissolve, let me show you what's going on here. I've already started dissolving it. I dissolve a package of rapid rise instant yeast. It's the fast acting kind. I put the whole package of this in, the fast acting rapid rise, into the cup and a half of water, and then I put a teaspoon of sugar. And that helps activate it even faster. Now on the package it says you don't have to do this on the back to pre-soak in water, but I always do just to make my breads rise even faster. So that helps a lot. That's what I have found. So I go ahead and do that. Now into my bread dough, what I'm using now, I don't want to use all of this bread flour. We're trying to be a little bit healthier, so I'm substituting out some other flours. And depending on the taste of your bread, you can substitute a cup, I wouldn't go anything more than a cup if you have 3 cups of the regular flour. If your recipe calls for 3 cups flour, I wouldn't go more than a cup of other kinds of flours like coconut or almond, just so that the bread is still going to be rising the way you want it to. But I do substitute out buckwheat flour here, and this makes it a little bit browner bread, because this is really pretty dark. You can use wheat. See how dark that is? That buckwheat flour. It changes the consistency a little bit. So it makes it a little bit heavier bread. You can substitute out almond flour for some of your flour. Coconut flour is going to make a sweeter bread. Garbanzo bean, I like using some garbanzo bean in it too with the garlic. So I'll put some garbanzo bean in here with some buckwheat, and then I'm going to add some regular to it as well. Now my recipe that I'm actually making today is going to be garlic rosemary calzones. So that's what I'm going to actually be doing for a party in about an hour. We're going to have it. So I'm going to get going. This is going to be, here's my 1 cup of flour here, and I'm not picky. I just scoop it out. I don't pre-sift it. Comes out just as good, I found. It's called the Lazy Cook. That's me. 2 cups here, right in here. I am going to give it a quick stir though, because I want that salt. I had a teaspoon and a half of salt at the bottom here, and I want to incorporate that into my dry mix. Right in here. Now the next cup of flour, now this is 2 cups of regular bread flour, self-rising. And this is what I found works the best for me. You know, everybody has their own that they like best. This is the brands that I can buy here. So I'm incorporating that in. Now I'm going to put, the last cup of it is going to be a mixture of some of the regular bread flour, not too much here. And then I'm going to incorporate some garbanzo bean and some buckwheat. A little bit of buckwheat. This gives it a little bit browner color. This is a cup, by the way, a cup measuring. And then I'm going to put some garbanzo bean. This is a very soft flour. It's yellow. It has a little funny smell to it, you know, like garbanzo beans. So I'm not going crazy with it, but this just gives some more nutrients and protein as well. That's 6 grams. Let me tell you, show you comparing protein. For 1/4 of a cup, I've got 6 grams of protein. Regular bread flour, 4 grams. I believe in variety and variation, and the buckwheat's 4 grams. So we're getting a little bit more protein in here with the garbanzo bean, but you know, I add so little, it's not much, but these trace elements are always good to have. So I'm going to go ahead and stir it in. Just gives different flavors to it. Now I am going to put tons of garlic and rosemary in this. And I'm gonna go ahead and add that to it now. And what I have is piles of cloves that I've peeled of garlic. And I'm gonna rough chop these. Any spots I like to cut out too. I missed that one. And I'm just gonna rough chop this. And this is gonna be actually for 2 bread, so. And I'm just rough chopping it. I don't want it to be, that's why I'm not using my garlic press or my garlic chopper. I don't want it to be really fine. I want it to be like slivers so that you get good surprises throughout. And so when you bite into it, you get a lot of pack of flavor. So I'm rough chopping and slicing. One of my favorite supermarkets sells this garlic rosemary loaf, and I just go nuts for it. But they don't have it all the time, so I have resorted to making my own. And then I'm gonna use, sometimes I go outside in the garden and pick some rosemary, and I'm gonna be lazy today. I'm just gonna use the dried stuff. Like I said, everybody's coming over right now. They already called and told me they were on their way. So I'm not gonna go get it and chop it all up. I'm gonna use a good, healthy teaspoon of that, of this. And what I do is when I put this in my dry stuff, I'm gonna show you. I like to even crush it more. If you have one of those mortar and pestles, you can do that as well. This just, I don't know, activates more flavor there into it. I really want it to be flavored with that rosemary because I love it. I might go for another teaspoon of that. I'm just going to use the rest of my jar. Yeah, that looks real good. My philosophy is you can't get enough rosemary. Okay, love it. And then I'm going to throw in my garlic too. Now I'm going to add the active yeast. I'm going to show you here. Oh, it's getting even fluffier. Right there. This is, like I said, it's the teaspoon of sugar. Look at that. That's ready to go. That's how you can tell when your yeast is ready. It starts fluffing up. By pre-doing this, what this is doing for me is it's speeding up my process of making my bread. I'm going to take that spoon out. Quicker, rise quicker. I'm going to put it in the center like a little well and start stirring. I want to make sure I get all that salt that was at the bottom. Now, if your dough is too sticky, and I find with this, sometimes this 1.5 cups of water, I need to add a little bit more of the flour to it, because I don't want this to be too sticky. I don't want it sticking all over the sides. See how it's starting to stick all over the sides? It's kind of wet, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the flour. If you use the same recipe, you know, omit the garlic and rosemary, of course, but you use almond flour or coconut flour, it makes a beautiful sweet bread, which I love. I love that coconut flour. If you've never tried coconut flour, get some of that. I even put it in my soups to thicken my soups. Corn chowder, it makes a great thickening for corn chowder. Okay, so this is a little bit, see, it's kind of sticking. It's sticking to my sides. So I want to be able to eventually shake this and have it not stick to my bowl. So I'm going to throw in a little bit more of that flour. And I don't beat or stir my bread too much. And I think that makes it a more tender bread. We're going to knead it after because I'm making it into the calzones. Now it's starting to get a little bit better. I'm going to pull it off my spoon though. I'm going to use this for calzones. We're having a baked calzone buffet in about an hour. And that'll rise in plenty of time. And see how it's popping off the sides? And I'm going to shake it like that and flip it. And now I'm going to sprinkle it Yeah, I want it to come off so it's not sticking. Come on there, get off there. Yeah, I'm gonna add a little bit more to it. Now I want it to not stick to my sides as it rises. There. That looks pretty good. Now I can pick it up and knead it nicely, and it's not all falling apart and sticking. You don't want it to be sticky. Okay, there. Now, that's good to go. Oh, I won't get it off my fingers. And so what I do is I cover this with, let me add that to it. I put a little bit of olive oil on top so my top area doesn't dry out. Just a little bit. I'm gonna kind of pat that around. And I'm gonna add some flour to the edge of my bowl here. And then I'm gonna cover it with a dishcloth, clean dishcloth, and I put it into a cupboard that's next to my refrigerator. And what that does is it helps it rise faster. The refrigerator, the cupboard is a little bit hotter than out here in the AC, and it makes the dough rise even quicker. So I call it my bread dough closet. But if you don't have a bread dough closet, you can put it in someplace warmer, sometimes in a microwave, that helps too. Covered, of course covered, and then in about an hour, it's going to be to the very top of this bowl. And then I'm able to put some cornmeal. I use cornmeal on my counter, and I sprinkle cornmeal down, and then I go ahead and roll out my calzones. Now, if you want to bake this as a bread, what you would do is just line a pan, or spray a pan, or prepare your pan the way you like, bread dough pan, and then bake it at 400 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes until it's crispy on the outside, and then on the inside, I always kind of test to make sure it's done. Between 30 and 45 minutes depending on your oven. But I cook my breads about 400, 410, and they do fine. I also have a convection oven, so that makes me have a lower temperature in my oven. But you've got to, test your oven to see how yours does for your breads, and find the, and find the best one for your bread. But I'll let you know how it comes out.